The three most important food groups for muscle gains, fat loss, and fitness: meat, fruits, and vegetables. Today we're going to talk about the top foods in each category if your goal is to look jacked, lean, fit, and healthy. Let's go.
This is cool.
Yeah, it is.
It'd be fun to take this. This reminds me of, remember, I tried to find this. I couldn't remember what book it was from. Yeah, I think I said it was from an LL Cool J book, but I could never find that. I could never find it. But I always found this really helpful for my clients. I used to print them off, and so I just kept reprinting them. So that's probably why I don't remember the book very well. But it just had this like great list for people of eat these foods all the time, eat these foods sometimes eat this rarely.
Yeah.
And so if the listener who's listening to this episode, obviously I see what foods you have on here. If you made a conscious effort to kind of like target just however you want to combo them, but eating from this list, this would be a pretty solid strategy.
Now,
to get in good shape.
Now the context, let's paint the context first, is, because you could go with like the most possibly healthy foods. You could also go with what's tasty. You could go with what people will eat. You could go with what's available.
Go with lowest calorie.
Like all of that has to kind of come together, right? Because remember, we trained people for over 2 decades, and you could tell me ostrich meat is great for muscle gains because it's high in selenium, or whatever.
Three servings of liver.
Yeah, but like, I've never had a client. First of all, I don't even know where to buy.
Yeah,
ostrich
I was gonna
meat,
say. I was just thinking, where would I get?
Unless you're in Australia, I think they eat it quite a bit there. So I don't even know where to find it. I don't know how it tastes. My clients wouldn't eat it. So the point is, like, this has to be a realistic list.
Yeah.
It has to be a realistic one. It has to be one that is also not super expensive. There are meats out there and fruits and vegetables that might be more expensive than others. Like, are people going to actually do this? Can they afford it? Can they do this long term? Will they eat it? Those are all very important things to consider. And of course, what makes them also make this list in terms of, let's say, muscle gain and fat loss or health effects. All of that is good, the context in which helped us kind of pick these different types of foods. So we'll start with the meat category. Now, if we were to look at different kinds of meats and rank the proteins that were in them, well, first off, I do want to say this. We are somewhat splitting hairs here when we're talking about animal sources of protein. All animal sources of protein, pretty damn high in quality, okay? Yeah. Especially if you compare them to, vegan sources of protein.
Legumes or whatnot.
Yeah, but I also think you prefaced that really well.
Yeah.
Like, because there's some things that aren't on this list that I eat for sure. But it's like when I look at the 4 that you chose, I'm like, okay, well, these are very common. There's a lot of recipes you can make with this.
Yes.
So it's not just, we could make an argument on here like, oh, what about bison? I eat that, or veal.
Venison,
yes, those are high on those things. But it's like, okay, is that a common dish?
Yep.
So in other words, if you have this meat that you love that's not on this list, that would be included because it's splitting hairs, the difference. But.
Exactly. And we're always trying to communicate what people will actually do, because when you train lots of people, you figure that out real quick. Like I'm not going to give it.
Adherence is everything.
Yes, it's everything. So that's what's real important. So when it comes, again, animal source of protein, they're all pretty damn good, especially in comparison to vegan sources. Animal source protein, very high quality on a gram per gram basis. An animal source of protein is going to be superior to other forms of protein. But the way that scientists will determine the effect of a protein or a source of protein on something called muscle protein synthesis. This is the synthesis of new muscle, right? And you can measure protein synthesis in the body. Typically what you have are high amounts of leucine. This is like the anabolic amino acid. If leucine is high in a source of protein, it tends to be more, for lack of a better term, anabolic, more effective for muscle gain. So that's also the criteria that we're looking at. So making the top of the list is beef. Beef is, and it's extremely common. It's inexpensive. It's high in leucine. It's one of the best sources of creatine you'll get from an animal source. It's high in iron, zinc, B12, and then most important of all of the sources of animal proteins that I can think of, I think most people would consider beef to be one of the tastiest.
Yeah.
It's got to be one of the most delicious.
Tasty. It goes with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make so many dishes out of it.
There's so many dishes you can make from it. So I think too, I think this is always at the, and you didn't put this on here, but if you're somebody who's counting calories or you're concerned because you're on a cut, you can easily manipulate the fat content.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a much leaner cut of beef or ground beef, and you can do much higher. And so easy way to shave calories, let's say during a bulk or reverse diet, you eat the fattier cuts of ground beef. When you go to the cutting and you want to reduce a few calories, you just simply switch the percentage down to a leaner.
And if you're looking for, some people have a polymorphism or they're sensitive to saturated fat intake, going from conventional beef to grass-fed beef changes the fatty acid profile and can make a difference for some people. Now, some people really need to avoid saturated fat, in which case you would look at maybe some other sources. But grass-fed beef is leaner per ounce. So a ribeye that's grass-fed is higher in protein, less in fat than a grain-fed or conventional type of beef. So it's leaner, less calorie, higher protein.
It's like the holy grail right there.
Yeah, and the fat is a better profile. It's more of the healthy fatty acids versus what some people would say would be the unhealthy version. But nonetheless, conventional beef is inexpensive. And you said it, Adam, like ground beef is cheap. Yeah. You can buy it in bulk, and you can get some pretty lean ground beef. Yeah. You could get as lean as, what's the leanest you could get? So like 92%?
Yeah.
Something like that's got to be the leanest, right? Yeah. And then you can go as fatty as like 80%.
Yeah.
So there you go. Beef is at the top. And it's, again, for nutrient density, it's incredibly nutrient dense. In fact,
density, convenience, price.
Yes.
I mean, it wins.
In fact, when you look at people who are on the carnivore diet, which we don't recommend except for people who might have some really strong autoimmune type issues, the meat they tend to pick is beef because you could just eat it and you're probably not going to be in a nutrient deficiency just by eating beef alone. Not recommended, but you could probably get away with it. That's how nutrient dense it is. Today's program giveaway is MAPS Powerlift. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video. The first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. We also have a sale this month. MAPS 15 Performance and the RGB bundle are both 50% off. If you're interested, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com and use the code MAY50 for the discount. Here comes the show. Next up, chicken thigh. Chicken thigh, very high quality protein.
So glad you picked this and not chicken breast.
Yeah. Well, because chicken thigh isn't that, it's not that much more higher in calorie, an ounce per ounce basis, and it's way more delicious.
Yes.
Why would anybody eat chicken breast when you can eat chicken thigh? I mean, how many more calories?
This was a really, those that have been listening to the podcast for a long time have heard me share probably this story before, but for years, even as a trainer, I just thought that chicken breast was what you were supposed to do. I just thought that was like, oh, you're dieting and you're trying to add protein and eat. Oh, you eat chicken breast. I feel like there was like, I feel like almost everybody thinks that's the route to go. I remember the first time that I compared, head to head, chicken thighs and chicken breasts, and I'm like, oh wow, it's not that big of a difference.
How many more calories? It was like 20, 30 calories.
It's a little bit more calories, a little bit more fat in it, virtually almost the same ounce per ounce when it comes to protein. And a million times better, especially if you're prepping. Understandably, I've brought this on the podcast before, and people always challenge it. Oh, I make a great chicken breast. I have this thing, and they have this dish that they bake in the oven, and they saute it, and they do all this stuff. And it's
try warming it up the next day.
Yeah. How about prep 16 breasts, for the week, and then tell me how it is on day 3, reheated, and it ain't good. I'm sorry, it's not the same as chicken thighs, because chicken thighs, you'll see that layer of fat sits around it.
Juicier.
Yeah.
There's something to these mutant chickens too, that they take these huge breasts from, and you see it in the store, you're like, oh, it's a big one.
Yeah.
And you'll buy it, and it's like, this was from like a hormone-induced like mutant chicken.
Well, what happened was with the when the government went on their anti-fat crusade, which was most of it was misinformation. What farmers did is they took chickens and they bred the hell out of them to have huge breasts, because the breast is so lean. Skinless chicken breast is like no fat. So you have these mutant chickens with these massive
Have you ever seen one?
But the thigh is almost as lean. It's not that big of a difference. It tastes way better. It's inexpensive. You can buy chicken thighs in bulk. And prepping them. That's what I do. I get chicken thighs. I throw them on the grill, and I have 3-4 days worth.
I just did it last night. Last night I grilled up a whole. I mean, I don't know how many pounds I did. But it tastes better. Again, what I liked you did with this list was you didn't just go, calorie for calorie.
Easy repeater,
It's like, we have to consider, adherence too. And I think that I've never had a problem convincing my clients to consistently eat chicken thighs. I have, however, had people complain like, I'm so tired of chicken breasts. They're so dry. I'm so bored. I get it. So
and chicken thigh, again, high leucine content. So it's very anabolic source of protein, high selenium, and all the nutrients I mentioned with beef. Chicken is relatively high as well. Maybe a little less than some of them, but also still pretty high. Next up, this is like a superfood, wild-caught salmon. It has to be wild-caught. Now, the farm-raised salmon has a different fatty acid profile. Toxins can build up in them, and they're just, it's not the same fish. It really isn't. If you eat wild-caught salmon and farm salmon, you put them next to each other, eat them, it's not the same.
They don't even look the same.
They don't even look the same.
Are they less pink? Sometimes I feel like they dye the meat.
They can. They'll dye them.
Color.
Yep. So wild-caught salmon, I mean, it's leaner than farm-raised. It's high in protein. The fatty acid profile on salmon, wild-caught salmon, is amazing.
Yeah.
Like very high in omega-3 fatty acids.
Great source.
Now, in the past, you've heard me talk on the podcast about sardines. I think sardines are great. I think they're so valuable. They're nutrient-dense, whatever. But I'll get way more people who don't like sardines than salmon.
Of course.
Salmon is it's probably the most, I guess, most people would say that's probably the best tasting fish of all the
even I like it.
Even you.
It passes my test.
Totally. And then last is lamb. Now, lamb used to be hard to find. I remember, my dad told me this. When my parents came here from Sicily back in the, late 70s, early 80s, my dad said it was tough to find lamb.
I found that you put this on your list. This is so the Sicilian in you to put this in here. Because this wouldn't have made my list. I would have put bison, ground turkey. I can think of a couple other things that would have made my list here.
Well, here's why I put lamb.
Sell me on why lamb and not those.
It tastes great. It's high in a fatty acid called CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. CLA is, it's been marketed as the fat burning fatty acid.
Yeah, I remember we used to sell supplements of that.
They did. Now, this doesn't mean, so here's why taking supplements of it was stupid. You don't just add CLA to your diet and expect to burn body fat. What the studies showed, though, were if you switched out certain fats with CLA, even though you have the same calories, even though you have the same grams of fat, you're leaner and you have more muscle. It's the anabolic fat burning fatty acid, CLA. And it's very high in CLA. Here's the other thing. Lamb, up until now, is very well raised and healthy. They tend to not be, raised in, like with conventional beef. They tend to be it's a very healthy source of meat. And it's easier to find now. Like I said, when my parents came here, my dad said it was, he'd have to go to like Italian markets to find it. Now you can find lamb anywhere.
Are there other meats, Sal, that are high in CLA, or is that the most common? I'm not familiar with how.
Grass-fed beef is pretty good.
There.
Yeah, but we already talked about beef.
Yeah.
But lamb is natural. It's always grass-fed. Lamb's almost always, I think it's always grass-fed if I'm not mistaken. So you're always getting a pretty, well-raised piece of meat. And lamb chops we have lamb chops probably 3 days a week in my house, at least.
That's an Italian thing for sure.
Is it?
Yes.
Lamb chops? Everybody eats lamb chops.
I don't think so, bro. Do you eat lamb all the time?
3 months or something.
Yeah, I eat lamb once every 6 months, maybe. Yeah, lamb's hardly ever in my rotation.
It's a very, very, very common meat.
Doug, do you eat a lot of lamb?
Not really.
Yeah, that's you, bro. That's Italian, dog. It's just,
whatever.
But I don't not like it, and I think it's a
ground lamb is delicious. And
it's a fair.
Yeah. No, lamb is not always grass fed. Wow. Usually it is though. That's interesting. So I have yet to find one that the ones I get are always grass fed, and I don't have to look for it. Let's get to fruit next. Let's talk about the best fruits. This episode is brought to you by Masszymes. These are digestive enzymes for fitness enthusiasts. Break down your protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Get them to your muscles. Improve your digestion. Go check them out. Go to masszymes.com. That's masszymes.com/mind pump. Use the code mindpump10 for 10% off. Here comes the rest of the show. Now with fruit, I put a combination of fruit in here, and I added one that typically isn't in this category when people talk about fruit that's healthy. But I wanted to put an energy dense fruit in here. In other words, what fruit would you eat if you wanted a good source of carbohydrates that was dense in carbohydrates? Yeah. Bananas.
Bananas are great for that.
Bananas are great. They're
workout. Yeah.
Yes. High in carbohydrates. It's like one of the highest dense, fruit you can get.
Potassium.
Potassium is good in there. By the way, there's studies on blood pressure that show that sodium is not that big of a different deal. It's actually potassium that makes a big difference. So for people with blood pressure issues, sometimes just eating more potassium makes a big difference. But yeah, a banana is you'll get more carbs in a banana faster than you would with other sources of other fruit sources of carbohydrates. So for people who don't eat, let's say if you eat paleo and you need that source of energy, bananas. And they taste good.
Yeah, I remember when I was super deficient with potassium, I was eating bananas and black beans and stuff like that. I had to eat it from. Yeah.
When were you deficient in potassium?
When I had blood pressure issues.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with my adrenal gland.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Bananas are also the best fruit to use in a smoothie.
It's yes.
Always add a banana.
That is like
yeah.
I think a banana in any smoothie makes that smoothie 10 times better.
Always.
Name the smoothie, add a banana. I don't care if it's a savory, sweet one or it's a fruit like
it makes them
tarty one. You add banana in it makes it so much better.
Next up, blueberries. Blueberries are a super food.
I would just say berries here. I think berries in general cover
100%.
Cover your bases. This used to be like my go-to. So the way we give, I love when we give like general simple rules for clients. I used to give them unlimited amounts of berries.
That's so funny. I would do the same thing.
Unlimited amounts.
You would never see someone overeat berries.
No, you could overeat bananas because bananas are high calorie and sweet. And you
eat 4 bananas.
Yeah. Those will give you a lot of calories. But good luck eating that many berries.
Yeah.
And I just think, and that's all berries: strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries.
But especially blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries.
Yes,
those were the top ones. They're high in fiber. They're very high in fiber. It's actually
high in antioxidants too.
Yes,
and calorie per, and like they're one of the best too.
Yeah, it was the easiest way. I remember you telling me this, Adam, and I pieced it together. After you said this, like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like, you want to get easy source of fiber.
Yep.
Oftentimes, I need more fiber in my diet. You can get some fiber from vegetables. Way easier to get them from blueberries.
Yeah,
you get a decent amount. So
because
really
you could put a bunch like in a smoothie, like you're saying. Like you could do. In fact, I used to love this, and it doesn't sound like it would be good. Blueberry, banana, spinach, protein shake. You want a high fiber, somebody who's like
throw some peanut butter in there, Justin sold.
No, literally, for some reason, the blueberries, banana, and spinach really go well together. And it's like, want to rock someone's fiber up. Like that's like, they used to be my go-to smoothie to send to people. And I think it tastes phenomenal too. So
and then they're high. So blueberries are high in anthocyanins, which are antioxidants that are just really powerful at reducing the oxidation that happens in the body.
It's so powerful, Sal. Like this is the same stuff that, I mean, those of us that are probably in our 40s or more are familiar with Monavi, which was so popular, and it was so popular. Acai berries, which when you look head to head next to same blueberries, is almost identical.
It's a blueberry,
right? So, and there was
Brazilian blueberries,
so there was all kinds of positive things that they had tied to that juice. That you're getting that when you have blueberries.
Yes. But yeah, there's like, anti-aging effects from these antioxidants. Anytime you hear, studies or you talk about antioxidants, like, and if you want to just really easy way to boost your antioxidant content, by the way, supplementing with antioxidants, not a good idea. Getting them from food, it seems to have a different effect. But if you want to boost your antioxidant intake, reduce inflammation, reduce the damage that stress can cause to your body, you just go reach for blueberries. I think blueberries don't get the credit they deserve because they're so common. Mm-hmm. So people just don't realize that they have a superfood available to them easily at the grocery store.
We go through a ton of blueberries at our house.
Yes.
A ton of blueberries.
Oh, for kids, are you kidding me? That's like the snack.
I throw blueberry. It's like the go-to snack for my son. Greek yogurt with blueberries on it, with a sprinkle a little bit of granola on it. He thinks he's eating some sort of a treat. Mm-hmm. It's a high protein, high fiber, good high antioxidant. Such a great snack for kids and myself. I mean, it's one of my favorite snacks to have too.
Yeah. Next up, and I wanted something in the middle, right? Something that was decent amount of fiber, that had some good nutrients in there, but also had some energy density, right? Because blueberries, if you wanted to get a lot of carbs for a workout from blueberries, good luck. You'd have to eat like a bucket of blueberries. You could do it with bananas, but I wanted something in the middle. Apples. Yeah. Apples don't get a lot of credit because they're so common.
It's another go-to for me, yeah.
Yes, and they've got a decent amount of fiber. There are soluble, insoluble forms of fiber in there. There are compounds in apples that you will see often in fiber supplements because of the gut health promoting benefits. And they taste good. They're convenient. It's like a go-to food. Like bananas get bruised. Blueberries, like you have to keep them in a baggie. They get smashed. An apple is a pretty damn versatile food.
What's the highest source of fiber? Is it pear?
I think a pear is up there.
Pretty high, but no, I think apples because it's more common. And I mean, I have apple trees in my backyard. It's super convenient.
I think that's where the apple wins. I mean, to me, that's the best argument for it. It's simple. You could throw it in a bag. You could throw it like you don't have. They're hardy. You can carry it and eat it at the same time. You're not going to make a mess. You're not going to have a peel afterwards. It's not going to be
peanut butter too. It's great.
That's everything. That's actually Katrina's favorite snack.
Apple and peanut butter.
Apple and peanut butter.
So
that's how I stave off a lot of sweet.
That's her. Though, she'll take that over dessert.
Justin's like, I better not eat candy. I'm trying to lose weight. I'll eat 500 calories.
Eat like 1,000 calories of peanut butter.
I used to have to. I remember I had to tell her to calm that down when she'd get into her diet phase and she'd be like trying to lean out. I'd be like, we might want to come back on the peanut butter and apples. The rest of the diet's pretty good. I said, but let me tell you, if you actually measure that peanut butter
every time, dude,
then it's the peanut butter. It's not the apple, right? It's the apple.
No, apples are relatively low.
But if you be doing gobs of tablespoons,
but like I said,
every time.
It's nice and in the middle, right? There's a fiber in apples called pectin. Pectin, and it's like 30% of the fiber. I think that's in apples. Yeah. That is very beneficial for gut health. And like I said, if you find a fiber supplement, gut health fiber supplement, oftentimes they add pectin to it. That's what you get in apples.
I didn't know
and
that.
Apples are high enough in energy to where if you're an athlete, it'll make a little bit of a difference. Again, it's not as nutrient dense from an energy perspective as bananas, but it's not like blueberries. But my favorite, and you brought up pears. I love pears. Here's the problem with pears. They're messy.
Yeah,
they're really messy.
Juicy.
Apples are super convenient. This is one of my favorite things I would tell a client when they're traveling. What can I bring with me to eat? And I would give them some other source, and one of the foods would be an apple because you pick it up, eat it. It's clean. You hold it in your hand. No problem.
Little traces of cyanide on the outside. It's good.
What's that? Oh, is that the apple seeds?
Yeah,
that's true. All right, let's get to vegetables. So again, we're going to start with a nice energy source of vegetables. One that's going to give you energy. It's going to fuel your workouts. It's, especially if you're performance driven. Sweet potatoes. Love sweet potatoes. They're starchy.
That's considered a veggie?
It is. It is. It is a vegetable.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they're a great carbohydrate source. They're starchy, high in fiber, high in beta carotene, which converts to vitamin A in the body. Here's why I picked a sweet potato over a traditional potato. I love potatoes too. But in my experience, clients, if they ate too much potato, sometimes it would give them gastro distress. Sweet potatoes seem to be gut friendly. They seem to be really easy to digest.
What's the definition of a vegetable? Is it grow in the ground? Is that what defines it? What's it?
We talked about this before. It's a culinary classification.
Yeah.
So it's like roots and fruits and
seeds.
I mean, they're tubers.
Fruits always have seeds. That's how you know it's a fruit or that's the difference, right?
I think so.
Yeah, a fruit will always have seeds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's why tomato is technically a fruit.
Yeah.
But what's the classification of a veggie? We talked about fruit, Doug. I don't remember talking about veggie, and because for some reason sweet potato did not.
Well, because you think of it as a starch.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it's like I said before. It's a culinary classification: roots, stems, leaves, flowers. Those are basically vegetables.
Yeah, and sweet potato is not neither of those, is it?
It's a root.
It is a root.
Yeah, root.
Okay. It grows in the ground.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Sweet potato. So I don't know about you. So Adam, did you ever find clients who, if they ate too many regular potatoes, they would get a little bit of bloating, but sweet potato easier to digest?
I mean, people enjoyed sweet potato better. One of the things that's awesome about sweet potato, if you compare it to potatoes, in my opinion, and or at least recommending clients, is potatoes need something on them. It's hard to eat a baked potato dry.
Oh, just with salt.
Yeah, but I can eat a sweet potato dry.
Yeah, good point.
Nothing on it. Throw that in just the juices from it.
You're right.
And I can eat a sweet potato with nothing on it. Sure, you could add butter. Sure, you could do some things to sweet, but I can eat a sweet potato plain, nothing on it.
But for me personally, with my clients and myself, if I eat sweet potatoes, it is like the most. It is such a great, not just easy on my digestion. It's almost like a pro gut health food for me personally when I eat sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
So I noticed that about them.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, we have a free guide. It's the benefits of eating whole foods. This gives you a shopping list, what foods are best for proteins, fats, carbohydrates. There's recipe samples. It's all based on real, whole, natural foods, and it's a free guide. It's totally free. You can get it if you go to wholefoodsguide.com or by clicking on the link in the description below. All right, next up, here's something a lot of people, I don't know, some people eat them. They're easy to find. I included them because they're pretty awesome in terms of how they affect the body from a performance standpoint, and that's beets. Beets boost nitric oxide and performance. In fact, you see a lot of beet supplements now for endurance. And there's studies on this. Like beets will improve your endurance, and they'll improve your nitric oxide levels, or the pump stuff that dilates your blood vessels, gives you the pump type of deal. Way better than pro pump supplements.
Aren't all the pro pump nitric oxide supplements derived from beet juice?
No, they'll put but some of them will now put beets in there, right?
Oh, okay.
But they have high amounts of nitrates, where actually get turned into nitric oxide in the system. So beets, like if you want to lower your blood pressure, increase your blood flow, get better erections, because yes, it does that as well. Ew. Better athletic performance, then eat beets. Eat beets. Now, personally, I hate the taste of them, but I put them in here.
Oh, they don't bother me.
I don't like the taste.
So how would you serve that? Like
salad
powder and
on a salad?
No, you just eat them.
They're so good on a. I feel like they're so good on a salad. You don't like them like that? You could eat them straight, but I'll eat them.
By the way, warning:
I rarely
eat a lot of beets, and you could see yourself peeing red the following day. I learned that the hard way as a kid. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You can actually get that to happen. I was like, it was just the beets.
Add that with some asparagus, you'd be really freaked
out. Lastly, broccoli. I know it's not that exciting. Broccoli is easy, inexpensive, good for the digestive system. Very high in sulforaphane, which is lots of research now going into this compound.
Smell, but it's really good for you.
It's anti-cancer. The anti-cancer effects of that compound are pretty remarkable. There's a lot of studies and data coming out now talking about sulforaphane and its benefits for the body.
Now, that being said, Sal, is it not one of the more common vegetables if you have an intolerance to a vegetable? Isn't it that because of the stems on it? Some of that, I've heard of that part.
If you eat them raw or not well cooked. Okay. So here's a little trick for people. Sometimes eating too many vegetables will cause bloating and gastro issues.
Yeah.
Boil the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Boil the hell out of them.
You were the one that taught me that.
Yes.
I never like you boil. I remember you used to boil it, like really boil it down.
Oh yeah.
Like right on the borderline of almost soggy.
Oh yeah. And you could eat a bowl of it and you'd have no digestive issues whatsoever.
That's such a good hack, you know?
Totally. And you add some olive oil to that and some salt. Absolutely delicious. So there you have it. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. How strong should you be? Ever wonder if you're actually strong, or at least compared to people like yourself? Today's episode, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to help you determine how strong you should be, and also talk about the steps to getting strong as fast as possible. In fact, we're going to talk about the fastest way to get bigger and stronger all at the same time.
I know keeps Adam up at night.
Yes, it does actually, and I know that you wrote a really complex episode here, but I think Justin's metric has been the one